Islam, peace, blessed love, Hotep, Islam, Shalom. We're here. Another one. See everything going on right now. So, of course, before we do anything, we gotta say Islam to all the Moors worldwide that are coming back home into nationality and birthrights. Islam to all the heads of all active Moorish organizations that are for the upliftment of fallen humanity and will do that and rep that forever, expecting nothing in return because we know that this is people's birthright. We know that this is the people's birthright, and we're not here gaming people for their own birthright that's theirs, right? It's getting serious right now. Forget Ferguson and all that stuff. You know, Sons of Allah, Thursday, we're going to beat up on Ferguson, right? So make sure we're not even going to talk about it today because, you know what I mean, CNN got that covered, right? Everybody else, 24 hours, you know what I mean? Only because I was in a hotel that I was able to watch TV and 24 hours a day, right? This unarmed black guy, right, getting shot by police. You know, police don't have no race or nothing like that. They don't even care about nationality of the, you know, police, right? No different than, you know, you get a ticket and state versus you. And you're going to talking and having conversation with people representing a corporation. So corporations killing black people, which are corporations too, right? Been telling y'all, King Alfred plan all that. So don't even get surprised. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing this and all that. You already know, right? You already know. Been going on. Ain't nothing new, right? Honors and highest honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Because without Noble Drew Ali, we wouldn't be here right now. Witnessing, witnessing the re-emergence of the Moors. You can't escape seeing Moors now. You better get on your birthrights, huh? Because you can't escape seeing Moors right now. Right? You can't escape it. You can't even hide. Pretend that it's not there. Because everybody's letting people know that the Moors are back. And the unfortunate thing is that only the Moors know what's really good. And the people witnessing either are stuck in some mental um, graveyard that they can't get out of, or they're the straight agents and their job is to keep people in the graveyard mentality and not see them elevate to Allah and man. So we're just gonna bring up the trip, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right at the shoe warehouse. Now, I didn't buy any shoes, but I did buy stuff just to prove to people that anywhere we go, as far as Moors, we don't pay tax. Okay, it's not it's not something about how do you do that and all that stuff. You don't pay tax. What are you paying tax for? This is our land. If you know that this is your land, when they say tax, you say, "Oh, I'm exempt from that." And you know, if you are what you know, they'll take it off. You know, and then there's a witness, right? Is there? You know what I mean? Saw that the brother didn't know what the hell to do. You know what I mean? He had to call a European. You know, he had to call God, right, to come show him how to do the tax exempt, right? And we were just laughing that, bet you that, you know, as soon as we were done, when he went on his phone, he went to text somebody that, yo, you are just at work, and these two guys came, right? And then, they walked around and whatever like that. And then this guy pulled out a card, and then my manager came and took no taxes off. And he looks just like me. We know that was the conversation then, right? Couldn't get over it. Just like, fresh out the airport. Milwaukee, in the airport, walking through. Oh, hey, Islam Wars. Bam, 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 you know what I mean? And the scene now is a Moor and two brothers who, we don't know if they're Moors or not, look like Negroes or whatever, but who cares? There's a Moor there. And the whole airport, okay? The whole airport. And the reason why it doesn't get recorded and, oh, well, how come you don't put a recording on YouTube and all that stuff? Because Moors didn't record stuff like that, right? There are two witnesses there. Go ask them. They'll tell you, right? Because we deal with real concrete. Talk to the individual. Don't send no message. Use the phone. No texting, right? Sheriff standing there, you know what I mean? Holding his post. More comes up. Sheriff straighten up. No words, nothing like that, right? No usual what they do. Just because more different level, different vibration, right? It was in Cincinnati, went to eat. Go to this Muslim spot. You know what I mean? Well, feathers up. In there, like treatment. Chef came out and stuff like that to bring the food. Chef came out to, you know what I mean, make sure everything is legit. Chef came out. You know what I mean? Walking all over the people. People, hey, how you doing? Just because. More. So Moors are back. Get on board with your nationality and birthrights by studying what was presented by Noble Drew Ali, right? Because you know everything that Noble Drew Ali brought for the Moors was for the Moors, right? It wasn't for anybody else. And people who recognize that they have something that's um, pristine should give that to others who are worthy. You know what I mean? Because people show their worthiness by their actions. You know, one thing we want to bring up as well. You know what I mean? Listening. It's funny how people don't ever link Cujo, right? When they got issues with Cujo, they don't call Cujo if they got issues. Send email, you play broken telephone and all this type of stuff. They never ever call me. My number has been the same number for about 15 years yet. Same number. Just change phones. Just upgrade the phone. Same number. Right? So nobody can say they can't reach me or whatever. But the impact of the Moorish movement, right, on all this BS that people have been pushing on people, right, is creating like um, brother Jelani told me one time, you know, the brass wall between Negro black colors and Moors, right? Because there's no integration with the Negro black colored mentality if somebody has the mentality of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. That's why you guys went into slavery. You want to be Negro, blacks, Africans, and all that. Because you don't want to honor your foremothers and forefathers, so you go down with the ship. Nothing personal, that's just what it is. So all these guys who like to talk, and not contact Cujo, as far as, you know, people who are identifying themselves as Moors, who have blog talks and who have radio, this and that, right? You know how to reach me. Reach me. You know what I mean? This is the olive branch that we're putting out right now to all you dirty Moors, right? You know, the numbers on the YouTube, right? If you have issue, you got a show, bring me on your show. Let's build on some real issues that people are going through. Forget the, you know what I mean, chest bumping and dick measuring, right? Right now, it's about waking up these people right here. And if you have knowledge of self and you know that you're God, Allah, more metaphysician from wherever, that means you have superior knowledge than people who don't. So stop trying to prove something to me about your school of thought was better and all that stuff, and take what you got and go teach some people something. Instead of trying to debate each other, you guys aren't even debating unconscious people so you can raise them to consciousness. Debating each other about what you guys already know, right? So this is the olive branch, because we're gonna have the list of all the dirty Moors, right? Because we're gonna have the records, okay? This is what is being put on the record right now, right? As far as Moors are concerned, Moors who have been in the Moor Science Temple, the Moor Science um, movement, right? There's gonna be a list of dirty Moors, so that when Moors come into the movement, they can go down the list of dirty Moors and know who's dirty, so they don't get caught up in foolishness that people get caught up in because they're following mere ideas of men and not Noble Drew Ali. Because they're listening to idiots tell them that if you focus on Noble Drew Ali, that means you're worshiping him. You don't worship freaking people. He has information that he presented to Moorish Americans who thought they were Negro, black, colored people. And he said that there's one prophet and one temple. So all branch temples and this subordinates and all that's nothing, because all of them have to go back to the head anyways, right? We're talking about people who are looking at this as Moor Science Temple of America, as, you know, Noble Drew Ali, and the charter and the flag in the back and the meetings and the public meetings and, right, per capita tax and things of that nature, right? That's Moorish Science Temple jurisdiction, a nation within a nation, right? That's what it is, right? That's just that aspect. We're not talking about Great Seal, and we're not talking about Moorish Divine National Movement. We're not talking about Moorish Holy Temple of Science. We're not talking about Old Canaanite Temple. We're talking about after 1929, and Noble Drew Ali passed away, right? The seat was not vacant. He was still in it. Everybody was just supposed to still play their position or whatever, but everybody got into power stuff, and then they start playing the power game, right? For your birthright. That they not even have no right to even talk about who's successor. When there's documentation who the successors are, is back on the 101 question there. So there's not any argument. But there is argument because, you know, dirty Moors, once again, always coming up. It's always the issue. There's no other issue that is the issue. Everything else we could deal with. Don't worry about European killing people and all that stuff. That's been going on, right? We know how to solve that, okay? Right? We know, but nobody wants to listen to us because we, you know, we have the funny hats, and then we are the Masons and whatever, right? When Moors are the founders of civilization, but people don't want to listen to the founders of civilization. They want to listen to whoever, whatever, everybody else. Okay, cool. Do your thing. Olive branch, huh? Because it's Shimitar after this. There's gonna be a list. So we're putting it out there. All the Moors, all you people who like video, whatever stuff, cut this up and all that, and then put this piece out separate. And just so we're clear, like the people like Lord Abba, the people like Ali Muhammad, the people like Polite, the people like Sa Neter, the people like everybody out there, right? If we're about unity, okay, let's do the unity. Forget the whose stuff is better. If you know that you got knowledge of self, then you have to be out there getting the people and uplifting them, not charging them $1,500, $2,500, $60 for a book, $40 for a DVD. That's not uplifting fallen humanity. That's raping your people. If that's your game, stay in your lane. But we're about uplifting fallen humanity because people are waking up all over the world right now into the fact that they're Moors. It's not a joke when we did the Moors slave demonstration, right? It's not a joke, right? Like there are European people, right, who know that it's the Moors' time right now. There's European people right now who are sitting on the edge of their seat, just waiting for the Moors, right? But the Moors want to be Negro, black, colored people. I want to think this has nothing to do with them because they're not Islamic. So tell all these guys, right? We're talking all that unity talk. Cool, right? But if we're about unity, let's deal with going and waking up the people. Forget each other stuff. Go get the people, right? Morocco, Treaty of Peace, September 16th, 1836. Okay? 1836. Whereas the undersigned James Lieb, a citizen of the United States of North America, United States of North America, is in the treaty. And now their resident consul at Tangier, having been duly appointed commissioner by letters patent under the signature of the President and seal of the United States of North America. Right? This is not how the people today talk about the jurisdiction above Mexico, right? Or the jurisdiction that they call Canada. These aren't separate jurisdictions. It's one. Everyone knows this. Bearing the date at the city, Washington, the 4th day of July, 1835, for negotiating and concluding a treaty of peace and friendship between the United States of North America and the Empire of Morocco. Not the kingdom, the Empire of Morocco. And then people are going to say that there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. And Moors are wrong. And, there was Timbuktu Empire before the Moorish Empire. What do you guys, right? Understand that if you're above Central America, right, and you're in the jurisdiction called North America, that's Morocco. And Mexico is a city of Morocco over here, right? The reason why we're bringing that up is so that we can recognize, right, that we're home. We're where we're supposed to be. And if we don't claim this, they're claiming it. And what do Noble Drew come and do? Claim this for the Moors, but then the Moors, listening to all these other people, who's this, who's that, who's whatever, who's the better, who did that, when it all comes down to, what have you done to uplift fallen humanity? For example, there's a new Moor, came in the temple, right? Brother Rasul, right? Young brother. And This Moor came to the temple maybe 4 times, right? Every time he comes to the temple, he has 2 or 3 people with him, new than the people who he came with last week. Every week, yo, every week, right? Getting so pumped up at class, going out, put people on like, yo, you need to. I don't know what you heard, but you need to hear this. Bringing 3 people a week. Forget dues and whatever, because we already know. Grand Chief's going in his pocket to make sure that temple stays open. Business managers going in his pocket to make sure the temple stays open, and other Moors going in their pocket because what I mean. Our people are still under mental slavery, right? In certain aspects, all of us, we got little glitches of mental slavery that kick in once in a while. So, uplifting fallen humanity is the theme of you being a Moor because you're the founder of civilization. And that we speak to, anybody that we speak to, there has to be some type of discussion with regard to the Moors. It might not even have to be, come to a temple or nothing like that. But there has to be something that we can instill in these people, whether it's physical, like them seeing a fez, for the first time, and it's quote unquote a black guy wearing it, like, oh my gosh, that throws a lot of people off because that's how real it is in their DNA, you know. But if Moors don't put them on, they'll never know because everybody's plan is to let them not know that they're Moors, especially people in North America, right? So we're gonna let you know that you're home today. All the non-believers, right, who, you know, are still kind of on the fence, really don't know, and whatever, still trying to find, what's my connection to this or whatever. Forget black Indians and all that stuff, right? Let's go to some hardcore, you know, um, physical representation of the Moors in America. So we know for sure that we were here, and even if we weren't here, we had such an impact on societies throughout the world that they adopted our culture, not our ways or our, little, tribal stuff that we do. They adopted our culture into their own, right? Why? Because you're not claiming it. So they're going to claim it, and they're going to act and pretend to be the Moors until the Moors stop playing Negro black colored, right, with Negro mentalities and thinking like the ancient foremothers and forefathers and being the founders of civilizations and the first everything's like we know that we are. And stop playing like we don't know what we're supposed to do, right? So you're going to go listen to the beautiful song Granada by Frank Sinatra, right? And this is just a little something stuff out there with regard to researching Moorish architecture. Just researching Moorish architecture, right? And this is the order of how the stuff came up that we're doing class today, right? This is the order of the information as far as Moorish architecture. Okay, page 1, bam, first thing. Okay, this is what, right? So Frank Sinatra came up, right? He had this song Granada. Oh, he had the spell of the Granada and the beauty of the enchantment of the whatever, right? Frank Sinatra, right? So this is a little blog or something that they had talking about this song Granada, right? So the people have their own blog now talking about this particular song that seems to be, you know, taken out of radio airplay and people don't play it anymore. And why don't they play the song? This is such a beautiful song and all this. Like pages and pages and pages of people commenting on this song, Granada, by Frank Sinatra, that they don't hear anymore. And they're going to play the song for the youth so they can know that this is really what a song is supposed to be like. And right? So what inspired this, right? Granada, one of those very popular radio frequented songs which were heard often over station WSAL while I lived in Langsport, Indiana in the 1950s and 60s. For some reason, it gets overlooked by Frank Sinatra album assemblers, but I always liked its optimistic, pleasant tone. Unquestionably, it features an excellent delivery by the chairman of the board. I only rediscovered Granada recently on a CD during a record sale and intend to pass it on to younger generations who will appreciate its quality. Granada Lives, John Edgerly. In Richmond, Virginia, there is a mosque where for decades American music legends have played packed and rapt audiences. But it is this mosque in name only, and in fact, it is no longer officially called that. Today it is known as Landmark Theater, located in Monroe Park next to the campus of Virginia Commonwealth University. It began as a Shriner temple, hence its original romanticized appellation of the mosque. And much like the previously covered Mecca temple in New York City, it too bears a distinctive Moorish revival architectural style. Domes, minarets, and arabesque motifs adorn the edifice. Now, keep in mind, right, because remember, we always got to go back and bring Noble Drew Ali to the forefront to show that he's been telling Moors about all this stuff, and Moors don't want to listen to their prophet and want to know why they're in problems. So you're going to go do your research on the industrious acts of the Muslims, the industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa, right? And that was penned by Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept. So you're going to go read that, and then this class would have a better perspective, right? So you can see what Noble Drew Ali brought you since 1913. That Cujo is talking about you right now, and it seems fascinating when you know it's been around, right? So there's your stuff that they got parading around with. Because they honor the Moors so much. Right? For years of service, the mosque was a prime venue for touring performers, right? Touring performers, right? And has hosted such artists as Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, Jimi Hendrix, Duke Ellington, and Bruce Springsteen. In fact, Sinatra, near the end of his life and career, suffered a fall on stage while at the mosque. At present, the Moss Landmark Theater is closed, but according to a recent article, the space is currently undergoing major renovations, slated for open as the new Altria Theater in 2013. So no different than like what they do with the MTV spot in Toronto, right? That was once a Masonic Hall. And then back in the day, we used to go there, party and club and whatever, and it was known as the Masonic Hall. That's where we go party, at the Masonic Hall, right? And then you get, you know, older, you realize that, these vampires, these vampires had it locked. You know what I mean? How much energy are they, you know, um, how much energy are they really getting? If these people are who they say they are, you know what I mean? Masonry and whatever and all that stuff, right? How much energy are these people getting from some club that somebody's gonna rent out? That people go up in there and we're gyrating and whatever else, drinking and raising up this energy that they don't know that they got. The other people know that they got, right? And sucking them dry, right? Another one. The architecture style seen here is known as Moorish Revival and reflects a Western fascination, right? A Western fascination Okay? A Western fascination. Europe isn't in the West. Europe's in the East. So when people steal your birthright and talk about this is the West and the wilderness of North America and stuff like that, throwing your birthright away to make you abandon it so somebody else can claim it, know that that's dirty morsel. But this is your birthright they're throwing away. For somebody else to come claim it and then use it against you with tickets and courts and stuff like that, taking people's houses, taking people's children, because some dirty Moor gave up your birthright. Right? The architecture style seen here is known as Moorish Revival and reflects a Western fascination with a mysterious, mystified Orient, Asiatics, particularly with romanticized Ottoman and Andalusian elements. Right? So it's Moorish Revival, but its elements are Ottoman and Andalusian. Right? And everybody knows that the Turks came out the Ottomans. And you guys listen to blowheads. You guys listen to cokeheads. Tell you that fezzes come from some pale Turks. Make you throw down your birthright. Because they don't want you to claim this. Because if you claim this, it's over for them too. All those so-called black leader guys who say that, come march and picket when they're ex-CIA agents, not even ex, they probably still on the payroll today. Yeah, you know what I mean? TV show now and stuff like that. Bringing people on your show, have them school you on the Constitution. These jokers. Such fanciful imaginings, of course, extended beyond building design and is equally evident in the habitat and customs of the Shriners themselves, their most notable piece of apparel being the red fez. Right? We can't say that they don't know. We can't pretend like they don't know. They know who we are. They're pretending to be us every day, all day, only because we're not claiming to be who we are. That's acquiescence. And if you acquiesce and you default, then it's on you. Why are you defaulting? Throwing down your culture because you listen to some cokehead. Tell you that this is not your stuff. That is some Arab stuff. You know they ain't no pale Arabs. Renoko Rashidi will tell you that. What pale Arabs he talking about? Renoko Rashidi will tell you that ain't no such thing as no pale Arabs. When he went there, all the Arabs are dark-skinned people. Who you fooling? And why people allow themselves to be gamed by these idiots? Right? Moorish Revival, Tampa Bay Hotel, right? And Bay, B-E-Y, Tampa Bay, and Hotel, H-O-T-E-L, right? They don't know. We go in the courts have to prove to these people that we're Moors and whatever like that. If they say, no, you're not Moors and they're fighting you, maybe that's because you're right. That's why they're fighting you so hard. Maybe it's because if they give it up, they got to give up everything that they're sitting on. It's do you have the competence to know that you can claim everything after you win in court? Because that means you took over the court if you won in court. And if you took over the court, then that means you're the judge. And if you're the judge, then that means that's your jurisdiction. Look up judge. That's why I tell people get law dictionary. So you can look up stuff and know what the hell this is about when we say we're Moors. It's not some black group you're joining. This is reclamation of your birthright that you don't even know that you had. Still getting caught up, tripping over our own shoelaces. Because Drew Ali said study 3 times, 4 times. People who study 1 time think they got it. Prophet said study 4 times. How much times do you think he studied? If he's telling us study 3 times, how much times he studied? If he's the prophet. Repetitive theme. Universal Pictures spent 100,000 for the Baghdad Theater, which opened in 1927. Thomas and Mercier, a Portland architect, film designed the Baghdad, which was built by Christian and Otis Development Company, or Chris Kreisman and Otis Development Company. The theater's exotic exterior and its huge neon light marquee competed with other movie houses, drive-in restaurants, and billboards of the 1920s in attracting customers' attention. Moorish, Egyptian, and Mayan motifs appeared here and there on movie houses across the city. Across the city. The theme across the city, right? The theme across the city. On this continent was Egyptian, Moorish, and Mayan. Why are they doing this? This is like with the Olmec heads, right? And that you see an Olmec head and you see the face on the Olmec head. And then people are trying to convince you that slave masters built that. What is a slave master building a head of his slave for? For what? Right? Claiming all of your birthright, all of our birthright, because we don't want to claim it. We don't want to claim it. Right? And if we don't claim it, then they're claiming everything. Wait, man. Start claiming stuff. Starting with yourself and your children if you got them, and your family members, and your friends, and, go up the line. People want to go claim, what I mean, mansion before they claim community that they grew up in. They want to know why there's issues. Because there's an order. It's not some game. Birthright to some game. You see the sheriff bowing to the Moor, walking through the airport. Is some game? Because remember, the only time we have issues is when we go in their jurisdiction. When we're outside their jurisdiction, they ain't no playing superhero and all that stuff. Right? Because it's time right now. We're supposed to be on this since 1913. We're supposed to be Moors with fezzes on and turbans and carrying ourselves in a dignified manner. Since 1913, we're supposed to be doing that. In 2014, we just getting on this now. Want to know why there's problems, why it's hard, right? Well, there's strengths in numbers. We could try push this boulder up the hill, two of us, but let's get some more people. Matter of fact, if you know the guy with the plane, put him on nationality and birthrights. Let him come hook up the stuff and get this thing out of here right now. And then that's unity. Regardless of what his religion is, what his school of thought is, whatever he belonged to is irrelevant. The point is that he knows he's a Moor, I know I'm a Moor, so we assist each other. Unity. That simple. But nah. People want to be number one guys and number two guys. Right? Now you know what's going on right now. This Moorish movement is a joke. Europeans are giving it up. Right? Moore came to visit me. We'll just, take a commercial break. Moors visited me. I'm traveling, Moors are visiting me, I'm traveling. Right? Moors visiting me, telling me that there's Moors with land, all that already. Like real land, stuff built up on it. They got ranch, horses running around and all that. Today, 2014, there's Moors that have that. Right? And they got that because they are saying or disguising themselves as sharecroppers that inherited that, because that area is, clan area. And if they see black guys with, property and stuff like that, they lynch them and stuff like that. No. So we have to pretend to be sharecroppers that inherited this from our slave master. But they're Moors. Fez is on and stuff like that, talking about their sharecroppers. The Europeans are laughing. That's what we try to fool them. They fool no Europeans. They know about this. They got Moorish buildings around here. And then those Moors are packed away somewhere and it's just them. And they got all this stuff. Like ranch, horses running around. And they're Moors. And they're not telling the people how to do that. Right? So that when we have situations, right? Matter of fact, if actually let's go there for since we're doing a little cut, little break, right? Touch on something real fast, okay? Touch on something real fast with regard to this Missouri whatever stuff going on, right? Remember, this is just a very very surface, because we're gonna go in on Sons of Allah on Thursday on this thing going on right now, right? We're gonna go in, right? Jerry Lewis Bey was the Grand Sheik of the Moor Science Temple of America. In the 1970s, he was known as a major drug dealer. He served time in prison and was introduced to the Islamic faith as taught through the teachings of the Moor Science Temple. In April 1978, he was paroled. On October 1st, 1979, he legally incorporated the Moor Science Temple of America in Missouri. With his religious conversion, he decided to leave the drug underworld. Lewis Bey established political ties to the U.S. Congressman William Clay of Missouri, Mayor Vincent Schoemehl, Schoemehl of St. Louis, U.S. Senator Christopher Dodds of Connecticut, Mayor Harold Washington of Chicago, Mayor John Ford of Alabama, Mayor Thurman Milner of Hartford, Connecticut, Mayor Marion Berry of Washington, D.C., Mayor Kenneth Gibson of Newark, New Jersey, Mayor John Riley of Opa-locka, Florida, Prime Minister Lyndon O. Pindling of the Bahamas, P-I-N-D-L-I-N-G, Lyndon, L-Y-N-D-E-N, Prime Minister Lyndon Pindling of the Bahamas, U.S. Ambassador to Morocco, David Robbins, Morocco Ambassador to the U.S., Mati Jorio, Morocco Minister of State, Mouli Ahmed Alaoui, A-L-A-O-U-I, and His Majesty King Hassan II of North African Kingdom of Morocco. A more. One more, right? One more in Missouri by the name of Jerry Lewis Bey, right? That's his resume so far. You want to know why there's problems over there? You really want to know why there's problems over there? On April 18, 1984, Bey and other leaders, now this is 84, right? If you want to say they don't know about Moors. Bey and other leaders of the MSTA attended the 10th anniversary of the National Conference of Mayors in St. Louis. That's Missouri, right? Same place where all this madness is going on. On January 8th, 1985, 85, for all these other stuff that was coming out, mayors saying, yeah, we recognize Moors, and then Moors, yeah, they recognize us. 85, Bey received a proclamation from the mayor of St. Louis, Vincent Schoemehl. On January 25th, 1985, Bey traveled and was presented with a proclamation from Mayor Kenneth Gibson of Newark, New Jersey. On April 19th, 1985, Bay traveled and received a proclamation from Mayor Thurman Milner of Hartford, Connecticut. On May 20th, 1985, Bay traveled to Washington, D.C. to receive a resolution from the National Conference of Mayors honoring Noble Drew Ali. This resolution, signed by Washington, D.C. Mayor Marion Barry on August 30th, 1985, Bay traveled to Opa-locka, Florida, and received a proclamation from Mayor John Riley. On December 16th, 1985, Bay traveled to Chicago and received a proclamation from Mayor Harold Washington of Chicago, Illinois. And they don't know about Moors. And we're having a hard time because, and then they don't want to recognize this and they don't want to recognize that. But this Moor in 1984 and 1985 is going around getting proclamations. He's going to get proclamations. Remember, all this is precedent and evidence that Moors can use. They want to say they don't know stuff and they don't recognize stuff. Don't forget, there's names up in here of mayors and names up in here of presidents and prime ministers. On January 9th, 1991, Louis Bay and 14 others were indicted under the Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corruption Organizations Act, RICO. He was convicted in a trial with no direct evidence against him and received a life sentence, even though he maintains his innocence to this day. In mid-August 1985, Bay and a delegation of Moors attended the World Convention of Mayors held in Paradise Island, Bahamas. On August 20th, 1988, Bay led an official delegation of Moorish Americans from St. Louis to the Royal Kingdom of Morocco during a 2-week visit. In March 1990, Bay led another delegation of Moorish Americans to Morocco, and the Moorish Science Temple of St. Louis presented with a resolution. Sheikh Jerry Louis Bay and his co-defendants continued to appeal their decisions. In January 2007, Bay released his autobiography, Government's Target or Gangster. He continues to write while serving time at a federal correction institute in Marion, Illinois. Right? So, there you go. His own book that he wrote from inside, so you can do what you're supposed to do. Right? So when you see stuff on the news and whatever like that, remember, don't forget that Sheikh Jerry Louis Bay was known as the Bay of Missouri. Like, he made it. He was known as the Bay of Missouri. Right? Now another thing, so commercial break again. Go to Cincinnati now. Go to Cincinnati, and we got the quote unquote known name of the city as the city of Seven Hills, right? You know, interesting name, right, for a city where, you know, there's few hills in this city, right? And they got like lookout points and castles on them and stuff like that. So we went to this one, and then there was this obelisk, right? We got this obelisk right here, okay? And then the obelisk is at the Ohio River, right? Now this is how slick that they are, okay? Remember, we know, right? We already read before, right, that the theme of the American cities are Egyptian, Moorish, and Mayan. Okay? President Herbert Hoover was at this spot in 1929, right? And remember, keep in mind all the dates that were thrown around too, right? Especially the ones around the early 1900s, around the time of Drew Ali, right? Things that he was doing, and then other things that were going on at that time. President Herbert Hoover was at this spot in 1929 for the dedication of the Ohio River Monument, also known as the Navigation Monument. The 30-foot granite shaft with bronze tablets commemorates the canalization of the Ohio River. It recognizes the completion of a system of 49 locks and dams which made river traffic possible along the entire length of the Ohio River. The ceremony coincided with the Great Ohio River Parade, a flotilla of boats which reached 980 miles from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Cairo, Illinois. Keep in mind, the Ohio River was named by the Iroquois of this region. Right? Now, why is this President Herbert Hoover, who, I hope you go do some research on, is going to bring an obelisk? Right? Why is he going to use an obelisk in the Americas? Right? Why an obelisk? So they know exactly what they're doing. Our problem is that we never knew, right? Just like the Moor in Cincinnati, right? That knew that this was here, you know what I mean? But when you realize that things are yours, you look at them totally different. You don't look at them the same when you realize, hold on a second, this is actually mine. This is not a myth that I'm told, right? Here's an actual artifact that represents Kemet. But I'm in America, specifically in a place that is 980 miles from another place called Cairo, right? And the Iroquois, who are indigenous people, dark-skinned people, woolly hair, thick lips, wide noses, that lived along the Ohio River and named it, which means they had to have used it if they named it. And then this monument is known as a navigation monument. And then we know that the Moors are the only people that they recognize as quote-unquote navigators. And they also recognize, people of Kemet, right? But they also know that, the motif is Egyptian and Moorish, which means that their relative is not the separation back then when they were talking about it, right? You're going to do your research on, just Google Mecca, Muhammad, and Cairo in America. Just Google that. Some stuff will come up, right? So Mecca, Mahomet, Mahomet, and Cairo in America. And something's going to come up called What's in a Name. And then you just read that. See what they know about your birthright. That Noble Drew Ali came 1913 trying to convince these people to claim. Right? So again, chilling, driving around city just looking for stuff. Not really looking for stuff, but just put some gas in, just drive around. Driving around, okay, yeah, let's go here. So we go to this place now, which is close to where the obelisk is, right? There's there was this, we saw this, like this. We saw this, right? So we walk up on this thing and we're like, whoa, same thing. Yeah, this thing's always been here, but I never knew what it was. There's no signs. It's on a property, but there's not really, it doesn't really say anything. It appears that it's there because they want people to witness it, and and walk around it and experience the atmosphere, but it's not saying anything or whatever. So this is what happens with Moors. Okay, so the Moor in Cincinnati said, I'm sure to herself, right? I'm gonna research this thing or whatever. So did some research and found that there's a book on the area and all this, right? There's a book on the area where she lives that she didn't know about, and she would have never known about unless she was had the mindset of our Moor and had the thought of, hey, I'll just study this. I'm gonna see what she found. So then find out that this is what it is, right? And this belonged to some people called the McCullers, and then it was, goes into how they took the land from the Indians that were there, right? So this might not even have been them that built it. This might have been there already. And you know how the colonizers do, because they prove that they're colonizers by having the family picture with them dressed up as pilgrims, right? This is these people's mentality, right? This is their mentality. So honors to the Moor for doing some research, you know what I mean, when you don't know. Because when you don't know, it's about trying to know as soon as possible. Especially when you get inspired to know, right? Um, this one's out of the jurisdiction of the Americas, but it was interesting, and I just wanted to put it out there so people could see how much for people to know, because we got Moors in the UK, right? So all the Moors in the UK, Islam, and we got something for you right now that I know that you've seen and whatever like that. But just to know that it's yours, right? They everything, everything. The Royal Pavilion is a former royal residence located in Brighton, England, United Kingdom. It was built in 3 stages beginning in 1787 as a seaside retreat for George, Prince of Wales, who became the Prince Regent in 1811. It is often referred to as Brighton Pavilion. It is built in the Indo-Saracenic style prevalent in India for most of the 19th century. It was designed by John Nash in 1752 to 1835, and it was styled as Moorish Revival exotericism architecture with onion domes. Right? So that's what you Moors have in England. Okay? The onion dome palace that they claim is some, stuff is theirs or whatever. The theme of it is Moorish and Saracenic. And if you think some Saracens are pale people, look at old Mecca. So the theme's there, right? The theme is definitely there. Isaac M. Wise Temple, formerly Plum Street Temple, is the historic synagogue erected for Rabbi Isaac Mayer Wise. Rabbi Wise was founder of the American Reform Judaism. The temple building was designed by prominent Cincinnati architect James Keyes Wilson. Its design was inspired by the Alhambra at Granada. Right? Once again, you know what I mean? More seeing this up and down every day ever since he lived in Cincinnati. And she was strict as I seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly where it is, but never paid any attention to it until you get the Moorish eye. And when you get the Moorish eye, or the Moorish mind, then you start seeing things totally different. And when you start seeing things totally different, you realize how much stuff is yours and that you're home. Speaking about your home, Moore called me, right? Because you know how it goes, right? Moors are waking up at an alarming rate, and it's because of the work that is continuing to be done by active Moors, regardless of the odds that we face. So, just has to get done, so who cares, right? This Moor called me, said that he was in the army, and we're talking about when he, same thing with, brother Bukhari, you deal with him, that he came from America as an army, you know what I mean, um, whatever, representative, individual, employee, whatever. First thing, when he went overseas as a representative of the democracy colonizing force, was, what are you doing here? By people in that region that look like him. First thing, before anything, what are you doing here? Everybody that he bumped into that looked like him, what are you doing here? And trying to convince him that he's not black, when he would say, oh, I didn't know there was black people here, and they're like, don't even put us in that. This is in other places. These are the things that these are the lessons, right? These are the lessons that come out of people when they get on moral science, right? Because moral science is in everything. Moral science is unavoidable. You have to take hold of the fact that we can claim anything as our creed, right? We can claim anything as our creed. And every single creed that we've ever claimed has taught us that who we are is based on something outside of ourselves, and never taught us to look inward. And when Moors begin to look inward for anything it is that you're looking for, first look inward, then go out and see what's out there. First look inward. When you look inward, you'll realize and recognize exactly what is missing, right? For your get to the next level. Because everybody is different. That's why we tell people that don't even, if you hear somebody talk about they got dismissed, that's them. Don't try to apply that to your situation, what they did. You're going to hurt yourself. Because this is spiritual. And what that individual put in that writ or whatever that made them get off, if you use it just like a birth certificate that's not yours, and you try to claim that you got something to do with it or whatever, you're trapping yourself where you don't want to get trapped either. Okay. New Orleans, Immaculate Conception Church, aka Jesuit Church, is a striking example of Moorish revival architecture. Across the street was the College of the Immaculate Conception, housing a chapel with two stained glass domes. The chapel was disassembled and about half of it was installed in the present Jesuit high school. How hard they were. Okay? With the Moorish birthright. And they're only doing it because the Moors want to be Negro black colored people, and they don't want to recognize their vast estate. And Noble Drew Ali told them, remember, keep in mind, always keep in mind, that if we're finding about this right now, right, like when you find something and you have the moment of, oh, yeah, I found something. Remember, Noble Drew Ali told you that in 1930, and you're late. So don't get excited. Quickly find the reference where Noble Drew Ali told you, so now you can be sure that he's a prophet. Because if he talked about something and then it happened after he said it, then that means he saw that coming, right? So remember, the industrious acts of the Muslims, written by the Egyptian adept, Professor Drew. Okay? Farmers and Exchange Bank is a Moorish revival style bank built in 1854 in Charleston, South Carolina. It was rehabilitated in 1970 and again in 1990. The building is recognizable for its muqarnas, characteristic of Persian and North African architecture, as well as its large arched windows and striking red sandstone facade. It was declared a National Historic Landmark in 1973. Farmers and Exchange Bank. So all the Moors out there, no Moors any out there, just let them know they got a bank out there. Built in the style of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. Just so they can, put people on. That's Moorish revival. Yeah, yes, exactly. I'm a Moor. Exactly. Because that's the only reason that you would know that and put somebody on. Because when you go to put them on, they've been known that. And they'll be very glad to know that you know. Finally that you know. That's where it's getting to right now. That you're going to bring stuff up to people who don't look like you. And they're going to verify that they've been known what you're bringing them on. And that they've been waiting. And that they couldn't tell you. Because you wanted to be black. Muqarnas. These were crazy. Because, when we think about things like Noble Drew Ali said, go back to the ancient minds of your ancient foremothers and forefathers. Right? Go back to the minds of your ancient foremothers and forefathers. What type of mind do you have, right? What type of mind do you have to build something like this? Where is your mind? Now let's just use this as the mudra for right now, right? I'm going to give you all some meditation time, right? Take a look at this. And visualize it in your mind in whatever color it is that you want to visualize it in, right? Visualize all the intricate details, right? If you have the mind of your ancient foremothers and forefathers, as soon as you close your eyes, you would see it. You would see it and it would look like it's real, like you've seen this before, right? Go back to the mind of your ancient foremothers and forefathers. Where's the mind of the individual to create something like this? Not this particular one, the design, right? Our minds are beautiful places. And it is said that anything that the mind can conceive, it could achieve. Anything, right? Muqarnas, Muqarnas, is a type of corbel employed as a decorative device in traditional Islamic and Persian architecture. Also North African, constructed of brick, stone, stucco, wood, clad with painted tiles, wood, or plaster, and are typically applied to domes, pendatives, cornices, quinches, and the undersides of arches and vaults. You know, where is the mind? Where is the mind to create something like this? Where is the mind? When Juali said, "Go back to your ancient foremothers and forefathers," what was he really wanting us to perceive? What type of things would he want us to perceive? When he said, "Go back to that mindset," you know? And what's going to happen to us when we perceive these things? When we start tapping into our cellular memory and actually remembering ourselves as our ancient foremothers and forefathers and the things that we used to do, man will be what he knows. Until then, we got a Negro mentality. Okay? We know, we know the power that we have as Moors. We see it. It's evident. You know, as inspired as we are, it's really weird that we can't convince our people that they're Moors. You know what I mean? As inspired as we are to say, to be proud, to get a flag, put it on the wall, and say, yes, I got a flag that I can call my own. You know what I mean? To know that you can do that. To know that you have a national headwear that's yours that you can put on. To know that you have, a culture. It might be a certain, um, essential oil that you like to use, right? It might be whatever. But we've been tapping in but not recognizing what we're tapping into. And Noble Drawley is the only one that was specific with us, right? He was specific with us that we must, if we don't do anything else, we must at least proclaim our nationality, which is what no one ever did. No one ever, right? No one ever told us what to proclaim. Everybody mentioned that we're a nation, assumed that it was black or it was African or, you know what I mean? But when you go around the places that you live and you realize that everything around you is Moorish, and it's been Moorish ever since you were, and you're just realizing right now, right? And you go talk to your mom, and your mom say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we knew about that. We knew about that. You ain't put me on. I didn't think you would know about that, you know." But we are the ancestors, back, and the reason why we're back is because back then we sent ourselves here that we're going to be here right now. So let's get to work, right? It's too evident, right? Finding ankhs in Mexico, ankhs in Mexico, stone ankhs. Why are you finding stone ankhs in Mexico? And Islam to the Moor that sent this, you already know when he sees it, he knows what's up. right? But we're all Moors. But Ankhs, right? Aztec Ankhs. So research a man by the name of Richard Casaro, Cassaro, Richard, Cassaro, richardcasaro.com. Okay. Why? Why is there an Ankh over here? Just because they're copying? Not copying. What are they copying for? Copying their own stuff? They're copying their own stuff. So, got a couple questions. Nothing too crazy. But one more was, whoo, he had, one more had 10 questions. But he's new though, so, you know what I mean? He's new, just allow, you know. So the first set, I forgot to write the 10 question more his name down. But the first set of questions, Brother Eric Orbe. Confusion comes in when it comes to nationalization. Because I know the Prophet said, if you don't do anything else, declare your nationality. But Pleasant Bay broke down that if you get nationalized, that means whoever nationalized you owns you, because only objects like land, air, and water get nationalized, like parks, water, and airspace. So what Pleasant Bay is referring to is what we're saying from the beginning, dirty Moors, right? Who have um, their temple set up as a 501c3 or um, or some type of organization set up that is making the people 14th Amendment citizens when they nationalize them and give them nationality cards because of how they're originally set up, not because of what they're teaching. So once they set up through the state under the jurisdiction of 501c3 or whatever tax protection or tax whatever status, once they say naturalize, once they say nationalize, and you go to them and get it done, right? It becomes them selling it to you. Okay. Now, you look at RV Bay, for example, and you say, well, what's the difference, right? The difference is that you're doing that. They're just preparing it for you because you have to get the actual quote unquote card, right? But as a Moorish American, you're a descendant of Moroccan born in America. And it doesn't matter what your nationality card looks like. Your Moorish Science Temple of America membership card has to be uniform as the Moorish Science Temple of America has their cards, right? Well, that's its own jurisdiction. Like we said before, that's a nation within a nation. That alone, that alone, don't worry about anything else. The Moorish Science Temple alone is a nation within a nation. Noble Ali said he brought that for the Moors through that jurisdiction called Moorish Science Temple of America, right? And then check the record, Vatican did the same exact thing, just like what he did, and called themselves a nation within a nation. And look where they're at, and look where we're at. And ask yourself, why is it like that, or whatever? Because Moors dropped the ball. That they've been juggling so long, they shouldn't be dropping any ball, right? But the drop balls were vital. Some of it was purpose. Okay? Nationalization is knowing. Nationalization isn't a paper or because you join something. Nationalization is you come to the realization that, hey, if I'm a Moor, I'm going to need something to identify myself as such. All right, let me find the best way to get that. Because of the corruption in the Moor Science Temple of America, you know, there's very few temples that you can go to and get the process done properly. You know what I mean? One of those temples, for sure, you have the Moors in Philadelphia, Azim, Hopkins Bay, and those Moors. You got Grand Chief Naturel in Asbury Park. Um, you got Moors in Florida with Donaldson Bay. You got Mecca, Grand Major Temple. Right? There's Moors that have temples that you can go to because you know you're going there more for the lessons, right? And the nationality card comes with the lesson, so it still comes down to what you know because they're going to ask you at the meeting, who's here in the crowd wants to proclaim, and you got to come up. All they're doing is providing the instrument that you can't provide yourself because you have to be in order with something. You can't be, I'm a Moor. Let me see your Moor card, and your Moor card is something you made at your house. Yeah, you can do it, but it's about unity. You're not showing unity by having something that you made in your house yesterday, but there's a card that you could have got that's been around since 1913. Why not just get that, right? That's why we tell Moors that if they go in the temple, the objective of going to the temple is, yeah, you get a nationality card, but really it's a mindset. So you're not really going there for a nationality card. You're going there to be a part of unity. And if you realize that they're dirty, you leave there, you go somewhere else. And if they're dirty, you leave there, you go somewhere else. Until you find a place that is going to deal with you how your spirit knows it should be dealt with by another individual that calls themselves more. And and then just to be sure, you go check the list to make sure that they're not on it. And then we start making moves to, get the outreach done, let the people know what's up, so that they can come and have the mindset, not get a card or a paper or plates or whatever from the Moors, so they can go out there with more stuff and have a nigger mentality. You get injured like that. Trust me, you get injured like that. So you don't want to go out there saying that you're a Moor, but your mentality is still niggerish. You need to eliminate as much as possible the Negro mentality before you start talking about your morals. That's just what it is. Don't get mad. Don't get, oh, well, it's going to take long, and don't worry about take long and all that. Right? Because they've been doing martial law. They've been killing brothers and sisters in the street, beating people up. You know what I mean? It's not anything new. System's been followed since 1933. It's nothing new. Chemtrails, it's nothing new. You already know, nothing new under the sun. All been going on. We're just the only people in the world that have been absent-minded with regard to realities going along, and we want to believe in fictions. You got chimneys, right? This big, talk about Santa Claus is coming for children. And we fool ourselves. So the confusion with the nationalization is that it's a mindset. Anybody swaying you from nationality is a mindset into nationality is this card or paper, trust me, those people are about to go in your pockets. Go in your pockets. You know when Popo stop you and go in your pockets? Okay, that's how they're going in your pockets. Both hands. And they're taking off whatever they get. And you'll let them too, just because. Just because. If they're that dirty, people usually tend to be, shy away, don't be, confrontational. But yeah, some people need to get their ass kicked. 1,500 for some papers, and you never call back or nothing. Some people need to get visits, right? Because they're just punks stealing people. They're not gangsters or nothing like that. Taking the money to go buy drugs or whatever. They're just raping people so they can live, have new shoes, and buy their 500 wives shoes that they got from people that they raped, selling some fraudulent package that don't work. Also, I know the prophet said not to flash your card in front of the Europeans because this causes confusion. But not paying taxes would be nice. So needless to say, I'm a little confused. Now, remember that we're talking about a time when anytime we bring up Noble Drew Ali, remember that during the time of Noble Drew Ali, there wasn't no card society. We were probably the only ones with cards during Noble Drew Ali's time. Everybody else had paper saying something, right? So birth certificates, all that stuff was paper. Certificate, that's paper. That's not a card. Deeds, titles, whatever. That's papers. So during Noble Drew Ali's time, we were probably the only ones with cards. So they didn't need to show anything to anybody. Because as soon as they see fezzes, turbans, they know what's up already. That's why you don't have to show your nationality card to Europeans. Because it causes confusion. Because they don't got cards. So it becomes an issue. Right? Because why do you think they got cards now? Right? Because we were supposed to be the only ones. And then the card proves the jurisdiction. And whoever doesn't have one has to go home. Now, everybody got cards. Pulling their stuff off. License, passport, credit card, bank card. Everybody has cards now. And then here we are. Because dropped the ball. And being that there's been a pattern of people abusing rights and things of that nature based on assuming that they're Negroes, blacks, or colors, you better have something to show them right now. Or they're going to assume you're Negro and put you under all those acts that they made in order to keep us in perpetual slavery like Willie Lynch fraud talked about. You better have something to show. But you better have the national mindset to back up that instrument you called nationality card that you're going to show. Because the European knows that you're more already. You show them all the stuff that they got. So they know about the Moors. It's not a secret to them. It's a secret only to us. Because everybody else knows. If Europeans, okay, let's look at it even with the flashier card, right? On another level, with regard to not flashing our cards, right? We're supposed to have our own jurisdictions by now, where there are not even Europeans in them, that we have to worry about flashing any cards, right? Like we said, Moors got the ranch. They're not telling people that they got ranch. They're not out there promoting their YouTube page, showing the ranch, letting Moors come visit so they can be inspired to see what Noble Drew Ali left for the Moors. Not doing that. Tucked away somewhere. Right? With your birthright. Tucked away somewhere. They got a ranch. Horses running around. Actually, well, yeah, we're not going to go over that story. Just know, Moors got ranches. I don't want to say too much. So the brother with the multiple questions. Let's see if we could deal with some of these. I've come to the conclusion that this information only applies to humans with a nationality. Point. Check. And not chattel property. Check. I'm also aware that a lot of my questions have not been thoroughly answered over the internet because there are light workers, agents, and people that like to distort and steer people in wrong information for monetary gain. Check. Where are you located? So I can come see you more in person because I don't mind working to save up more money to travel to see you in person. Despite having the internet, I get a better understanding of things face to face. All right, so just so anybody who doesn't know, we're in Canaanland, which is misnomered Canada, in the jurisdiction of Toronto. The temple contact number is 647-748-6664. And the location of the temple is 2533A Eglinton Avenue West. That's in Toronto, right? Um, Moors come check us all the time whenever they're around here. So you got there's a number. Contact us also on Canaanland Guide at Gmail. You already have that. Just putting it out there. Canaanland Guide at gmail.com. Questions, whatever like that, you can send your whatever. So yeah, Moors check us anytime. We're here. If you want to come down, we're here. Ain't nothing. We don't turn people away or nothing like that. Because the door's always open. People leave. We don't turn people away. Getting nationality cards through Canaanland. Our position is support active Moors. So as far as nationalizing, proclaiming their nationality to a group of competent Moors is concerned, right? There's different Moors in the jurisdictions. Um, there's different Moors in the jurisdiction, and um, you know, Moors that are active, right? Moors that are competent, that are for nationality and birthrights, uplifting fallen humanity, um, have avenues for you to, do the proclamation, whether it's paperwork, nationality cards, whatever, right? Um, we try to deal with people who are in Canaan land because if something kicks off, we would want to be able to have access to those people, right? So it doesn't make sense us having people that are members in Florida because, if something goes on, we have no access to you immediately, right? So we try to tell Moors to find Moors in your jurisdiction. If there's no Moors in your jurisdiction, then pick some Moors in a jurisdiction that are competent and use them as your home base. So again, in the sense of RV Bay, um, the website is the home base. And that's the university, that's the school, that's the classes, that's the store, that's where you're going to get what you need with regard to learning about nationality and birthrights when you are the teacher and you're the student, right? It's not like this for, you're going on there and you're doing your own research. So you're the teacher and you're the student. That's why we send people there. So they can be what they know, not be told what they know, which is what's going to happen when they go to the temple because, the mentality, right, of the people is once they go in the quote unquote temple, then the grand whatevers are going to do everything for them. When that's not what it is. The grand whatevers are there to be your trustees to do what your mind wants to do but can't do physically. So you have a body of Moors that are adepts that are going to do that for you, right? So if you are going to, you know, get down with Canaanland Moors, all we want is moral support. Whatever donations that you want to give, we'll take those and we'll give you literature, DVDs, whatever newspapers or whatever that we got to compensate you for your donation. Because people say that we're raping funds up here and all that, and that's not really what's going on, right? Um, for the donations, it's on culturaleducators@gmail.com is the PayPal for donations. And you can verify, people tell you that, we deliver on donation. You don't take people's money, not send them anything, right? Somebody hit my car in front of me and left fast enough that I could not record any information. It was a hit and run. Uh, how do I register a new vehicle to myself and not the state, whether it be in North Carolina, etc., etc.? Well, first thing is that certain people are around there to protect and serve or whatever like that. We should be able to, if there's issues involving their jurisdiction, we should be able to call them to come and deal with, you know, their jurisdictional um, vermin that came over on our side and, you know, abused us, whatever, right? Um, just because, you know, serve and protect and all that. So if that's the case, you got a license and all that stuff, you ain't do nothing wrong, and your stuff got hit, not national stuff, you got license, state stuff. Somebody, then you should make a report and all that. That's what those people are there for, because you're not doing nothing by yourself anyways with regard to that. Now, if that's, now with regard to the registration, right, reserve rights at all times. Because if you're just going to go out there, slap some plates on, and go out there, they're going to stop you, they're going to harass you, they're going to give you problems. Because they already know that if an individual has plates on, they know where they're supposed to go check to find out if that is, you know, legit. Matter of fact, they were already supposed to be put on notice by somebody, right, so that they know to expect to see certain plates on the streets or whatever like that, you know, when you start exercising without registering. So the registration thing is touchy and all that because, you know, you're talking about um, individuals who will steal your stuff just because you registered it, you know, but then at the same time, you know, they'll still steal your stuff if you don't register it, right? So that's, again, based on knowledge of self. You exercise what you know because no one can tell you what whether you should register your vehicle or not. We give you some ideas, you know what I mean? You know, in my opinion, instead of giving yourself hassles, you know what I mean? Reserve all your rights, register. If you're not around Moors and whatever like that, because, you know, to go the other way and say you're not going to register it, but still want to utilize that mode of transportation, you're going to get injured, right? Because, you know, you're a newborn. And this shouldn't even be something on your dial plate right now. This shouldn't even be something that you're even, this shouldn't even be a thought in your mind. You know what I mean? If you don't know when Noble Drew was born, if you don't know his birthday, if you don't know any of the answers to the questions in the 101 questionnaire, if you don't know one um, article of the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, um, then you shouldn't be talking about right to travel or nothing like that. Just to be blunt. Forget right to travel and registering and whether you shouldn't register or whatever. You have the Moorish mindset, business as usual. When you have a Moorish mindset, anything and everything that you do in that name that you thought was you, that you realize isn't you because you're a Moor now, you reserve your rights. All rights reserved without prejudice. UCC 1-207, UCC 1-308, UCC 1-103. Right? All rights reserved. And then sign over after you write all that stuff on the line, then you sign over. Or like we said, get the stamp the paper, sign over that. Right? Because it's getting crazy again out here. Um, um, Again, nationality, with nationality as a more documented for the record, will the paperwork get help get the tickets dismissed. That's based on Moore's mentality. Tickets will get dismissed if your mentality is that you're the plaintiff and they're the defendant, even though they're bringing you in there. Once your mentality is, I'm the defendant, I have to defend the fact that I'm innocent so they don't find me guilty, you probably already lost the stuff. You know, don't just realize that, you need to go study somewhere. Something personal, you know what I mean? You get some slaps, hope that you don't get no hard slaps, get solitary, for some ticket. You know what I mean? Because they'll do stuff like that just because. You know what I mean? And when you have situations where um, you, okay, when we start doing the internalizing and listening to the inner voice, when you're listening to the inner voice is going to let you know what you're supposed to do. As soon as you start questioning it, know that that's the lower self. Immediately. As soon as you start questioning the voice, you know, uh, for example, right? Um, I am not saying I can drive and break the law. I am saying I made a mistake, but I did not hurt anyone, and I have the right to travel because I am not working for anyone like a truck driver. Okay? To once we are questioning our actions, once we're questioning our actions, that means we haven't studied enough. Right? When we're questioning our actions, not questioning history or science or whatever, when we're questioning our actions, when we question, should I show a nationality card or not, when the officer is walking up, that means that we're not sure in what we claim that we know, and we have to be sure in what we claim that we know. That's what's going to get you out of trouble half the time. The fact that, I think he's sure about what he's saying. Not necessarily what you said. Not necessarily because you quoted something that was, profound from a law or jurisprudence perspective. Most of the time it's, are you really sure? Or are you just throwing that out there, seeing if I'll bite? Because remember that they already know. So because they already know, right? Once they know that you know, they kind of ease off you. Right? Once they know that you know, they ease off you. They might not, fully hit the brakes. You know what I mean? But they'll probably, run over you just once instead of doing the in reverse and run over you again. Right? Because you're gonna get something when you start exercising birthrights. That's just, um, it's it's. I find personally that the most sincere, um, um, the most sincere and and innocent people always get injured the most. Right? They're like, I don't know why, right? I don't know why, but the innocent people, right, don't get what they should get because of their sincerity, unfortunately. You know what I mean? They go through trials and tribulations, right? And the knuckleheads always just say something that they don't even know what the hell they're talking about, and all right, forget it, tickets dismissed, you know what I mean? Judge throwing all the stuff in the air, walking out the court, you know? So it's a battle, but don't be discouraged. Like Noble Drawley said, you know what I mean? Like Sister Anita Bay said, or Anita L said, like Sister Anya Bay just said, study, 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 because that's all that we got, right? That's all we got. Study it, you know. I'm not saying don't exercise and don't do stuff, but know that every single thing that somebody who says that they're Moorish American, right? everything that you do with regard to engaging the democracy, they have a response for you. It might not be today or tomorrow or 7 days. It might maybe 4 years from now, but they're going to respond to you. Know that they're going to respond to you. Whatever it is that you say that you're doing, exercising, as Moorish American, right? At some point, you're going to be tested. Not because you're wrong or anything like that, but let's see if you're legit. Say you're the best basketball player, okay. Let's see you win 6 titles. You say you're the best and all that stuff. Let's see, right? And when you show improve, leave you alone. Build a statue, leave you alone, right? Another one. I went to college and accumulated student debt. After getting my nationality for the record, should I write or should I do accepted for value? How do I write to pay off debt? How do I use accepted for value to pay off debt? These questions are important because according to the history of the United States, is a corporation and it is in debt since the 1930s and they are going to collapse, right? So again, we're questioning our actions. We're questioning our actions. Should I do accepted for value? The question, like, okay, so you know, the question the teacher is asking, what's accepted for value? And then if huh? Repeat that again. What's accepted for value? Um, what I saw on YouTube or I read in the don't do any accepted for value. Go study. Yeah, but I have this debt that I go study. Continue the game until you become wise as to how to end this game that you got yourself into. Because remember, all they did was put the application on the wall or have some guy stand there and tell you, yeah, I get this loan right here. You know what I mean? And you were like, oh, shit. 10 G's? Get this right here. Bam, bam. No reserve rights, no nothing. What? But you're liable. Because, that's contracted. You sign it. But, hold on a second. If it's a contract, then there should be more than one signature on there, except just yours. Right? So, if you don't know what accepted for value is, don't worry about writing off anything. Can't even try. Can't even attempt. Because if you are exercising accepted for value, then you have to know thyself. Because accepted for value is a custom. Right to travel is a custom. I have the religious right to wear my fez. That's a custom. And again, it goes back to ancient foremothers and forefathers. Because if we go back to the state of mind of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, we'll realize that the individual who gave us a loan is a European. Where do you get jurisdiction to give loans in the Americas? And how come there's not a European giving Chinese people student loans? How come there's not a European giving Hindu people student loans? How come there's not a European giving Australian student loans? How come the only people getting student loans are people Negro, black, colored, or U.S. 14th Amendment citizens in the jurisdiction of North America? Is the only people that have student loans. How come everywhere else in the world, university and shit's free? As a citizen, you just go to university. As a citizen, free. Only if you go to some outside university outside the country you pay. And most of the time, your country will pay for that. They have some whatever you could go apply for, and they'll pay for you to go to school somewhere else, right? So if we have student debt, how do you get the debt? And what's debt? And what's money? And did they give you money? And if they didn't give you money, then why are they calling it a loan? And where they get the money from in the first place? If they're colonizers from Europe and they were broke when they came here, where they get money from to loan you something? And why are you the only one signing this and nobody else is signing it? All these questions you gotta ask them. If they say that they're the bank of whatever state, I'm sure that there's a state constitution. And I'm sure that state constitution is tied to the national constitution. And the national constitution, Article 1, Section 10 or something like that, gold and silver, payment of debts. How come they're not asking you for gold and silver to pay your debts off? They should be asking you for gold and silver because, they're the bank of the state of whatever that's tied to the national constitution that says that gold and silver is the only thing that can be used for payment of debt. But then, you ask Moors, tell me something about the Constitution. I haven't read that yet. I've been over here studying, this thing over here because, I heard about this harp and, you don't know the Constitution? No, well, I was going to get to the Constitution and the treaty and all that stuff because then I read it and then I saw this thing over here about, the harp system and, no, but it's supposed to be on RV Bay for a year. The university. Lucky it's only a year. We got people go to school 8 years and stuff like that before they say that they're qualified. We're just saying do a little year bid. Year bid on RV Bay. Get yourself straight mentally first and then go dibble dabble if you want to go dibble dabble. You can't dibble dabble without knowledge yourself because you can get injured. You don't hear the list of all the people on RV on Blog Talk every Tuesday? People got kidnapped, which is an injury because they're exercising birthrights. Nothing's wrong with exercising, but you gotta know what you're doing. And you gotta know that if they do one of those to you, that you're standing on nationality and birthrights, regardless of what they do. If you're real about this. If you're a Moor, then hey, you're a Moor under the guillotine. That's what it is. Yeah, sorry, I don't get commercials on my side. So all that acceptable value and all that stuff, leave that alone if you don't have knowledge of it. Right? Okay. How can I stop paying taxes? Whether it be at a car dealership or a grocery store, right? So we already showed people if you have a national mindset, right? No matter where you are. So in this case, it's Milwaukee. There's the number. Just call them, ask them if they remember the guys that came in and got taxes off. See if they tell you anything. Right? There it is. Register number and all that. Time 1:56. Right? See the time that this was bought at. Right? 13. Okay. There's all the prices of the stuff. And then there's the tax. Total tax 000. Right? 1997, $20, 3 cents change. Right? No tax. So when we say, how can I successfully stop paying taxes? We don't know how. We successfully don't pay taxes as Moors. Here it is right here. Here's the receipt right here. Show people. Another one, you know. We always put them on blast, you know. We always put them on blast, right? Right? Receipts, 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 right? Right? Exempt, tax exempt, tax exempt number 222141. Okay, savings 101. Okay, total amount cash change, no tax, zero, zero, voided. See, right? Okay, so you don't have to pay tax, but it's a mindset. It's not because of some card. It's because when I go in there, I'm not paying tax. Oh, you want proof of that? Okay, here's this card right here. Prove to you that there's a six-digit number just like the native guys have a six-digit number. Yeah. Oh, you didn't think I knew that it was six digits, huh? But yeah, it's 6 digits. Put the shit in the computer. Shut the hell up. Give me my taxes off. Oh, you don't want to do it? Call the manager. He'll do it. Oh, you don't want to do it? Who's the CEO or whatever? And we'll send them some writs. Let them know your status. You know, or that they're not going to get your patronage. And you know, customers number one. You can complain to the Better Business Bureau on them. They're not accepting your stuff and all that. You know what I mean? Okay. Um, Same thing, you know. How do I obtain land tax? Right? Land charters, trusts, grants, whatever. Do it business. How can I live tax free? What is commerce? How do I give back the driver's license, birth certificate, social security number, and still be able to do commerce with people in society? You know what I mean? It's like we constantly tell people, study, study, study. Because until until we accept the fact that we've been played by our own people, gamed us for 100 years, telling us about black, Negro, colored, African, whatever, all this crap for all these years. We finally come into Moorish birthrights. Now people are coming up talking to us about Moors. And, oh yeah, you know, the Moors were the whatever. And now they want to bring up Moors. When, 99 years ago, they didn't want to talk about nothing. They're not telling us anything. But now they're going to bring stuff up now. Right? I mean, yeah, thanks. But we already got this. We already got this. Moors are coming back home. Continue to study, study, study. That's all you got. Study. Don't worry about taxes and all that. Because trust me, just like this nerd on YouTube, keep asking me the question about how the IRS is going to do it. And the IRS is coming in. And the IRS is going to get me. And the IRS, they got the thing coming and then I can't do. And the IRS, you just go to RV Bay, buy the IRS books. Save yourself the hassle. I'm not telling you nothing on YouTube. No teaching in comments. It doesn't work like that. Go study. Right? There ain't no gold and silver right now. So don't even worry about gold and silver. It comes back to the same stuff again. Right? That we're 100 years behind. People are failing to remember. Like I said, Brother Rasul, he's not worrying about should I pay taxes, not pay taxes, what do I do now? I know that I'm a Moor. He's going out and getting people and bringing them in. So that's it. Everything else is secondary. Primary thing right now, forget your problems. The biggest problem right now is the Negro problem. Forget loans that you got, you want to get out of. Forget tickets that you got, you want to get out of. You got them stuff. You contracted with the beast to get those stuff. So since you want to contract with the beast, oh no, sorry, ignorance of law is no excuse. So I didn't know and all that stuff. Let's man up, you know what I mean? Take our whatever it is we got for contracting with this beast, or say, cutting off my cable, I'm cutting off my this. I'm gonna stop going to the club. I'm gonna stop going to church. I'm gonna stop going to this place. I'm gonna stop shopping here. Stop going here. I'm gonna sit my ass home. I'm gonna put in some study time, 8 hours a day, whether I'm at work, whether I'm on the job, whether I'm lifting stuff on the job, driving the forklift, driving the bus, whatever. I don't care what you're doing throughout your day. It better involve studying. If it doesn't involve studying, then, you know, you're never going to get any questions answered. Because we've been telling morals stuff and still not getting. Why? Because they're not studying. It's all about study, study, study. And again, don't worry about gold and silver. Is it gold and silver? Should stuff be in gold and silver? Should we pay stuff in gold and silver? Should we sue in gold and silver? Don't worry about gold and silver. Because all gold, all silver, all platinum, diamonds, jewels, whatever that you want, emeralds and all that stuff come from Earth. Proclaim your nationality and claim your land, and you don't have to worry about no gold and silver because you have the land. Which gold and silver comes out of? There's places right now you dig, you'd be surprised that there's gold there if you dig deep enough. Just because, right? That's why people are coming here, claiming here. You know what I mean? But you know we need our little break because blog talk at 9:30. So before we go, remember, you can get the new book, right? We're putting them out now. We got our own publishing. In order to change people, we're going to change the literature. So Khalifa Media assisting in making sure that, you know, Kudro's work gets out there. Welcome to Canada. Color of Law and Authority on Usurped Annexed Moorish Land. So this is the second book. Make sure you go get that. Amazon.com, Khalifa Media. You already know. Also, from Khalifa Media, I got my little package today. So we can start doing the studying and start doing the showing. We got the Holy Quran, 1926 version that we found online. More in Canaanland, just doing his eBay studying, his Moorish, you know, culture, looking for his Moorish figurines and his Moorish whatever. Bumped into the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple, of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, 1926 version, right? That Khalifa Media has taken, right? Khalifa Media has taken Moorish Guide Publishing sub corporation for the purpose of changing the literature so the people could change their thinking, has republished the official 1926 Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, right? And, you know, it's just like everything else, but, you know what I mean? This is published by the Moors now, right? It's published by the Moors once again, not from somebody else. Our stuff. You need to get, if you're a sister, the Muslim Girls Training Guide for your little sisters out there so they can grow up to be what they're supposed to be, right? Um, the Moorish Girls Training Guide deals with um, civilization classes, proper attitude, posture, dangers of being overweight, great tips on caring for your hair, how to keep house, how to take care of your husband, temple manners, the law of Islamism in America. Amazing. Honors to Khalifa Media for putting this back out again, right? Getting the sisters involved. So remember, you can go get that. Don't be shy. You know what I mean? Support your own. Once again, Khalifa Media, bringing it all back out for the people, right? I'm going to repeat myself. Another compilation, Noble Drew Ali's literature, for all the people who, you know, well, how can we get Noble Drew Ali's literature? Khalifa Media has it available. right? Khalifa Media at gmail.com. Khalifa Media at gmail.com, right? And you can get all your Moorish information. Okay, not done. Moors in America, a compilation. Victor Taylor Ale and Tahida Naji Ula Ale. Make sure you go pick this one up. Nice size, right? Good price. Got lots of info. Don't be shy. Support the Moors, because trust me, your literature will change. Your mind will change when you read this changed literature, right? Moorish Children's Guide to History and Culture. Just pick these up for my nieces, right? Again, Khalifa Media, putting it all out there. Again, changing the literature, right? Changing the literature. Coloring book. Coloring book for children with Moorish pictures in there. Amazing, right? Amazing. Super amazing. And last but not least, don't forget Noble Juali, Plenipotentiaries, and the Negro Black Colored Addiction. So support the Moors, support yourself, because, you know, we wouldn't do this if it wasn't for all y'all, you know what I mean, constantly sending emails, constantly sending whatever you're finding out there, constantly tuning in to RV Bay, tuning in to Cujo, tuning into Canaanland Moors class, tuning into Sons of Allah, tuning into Moorish Heritage and History School, tuning into Moors Order of the Round Table. I want to say thank you for all the support. Continue, Moors, continue to be active. You know what I mean? You know, sorry for keeping y'all from your break. I know that, you know, you got to get your drink and stuff like that before you get on at 9:30. So Islam Moors, peace, love, and hotep. We're going to just close out with the prayer. And I already know we don't have any classes coming about, you know, colors of fez or whatever. If you could find a pink fez, put it on and rep your nation, because this is a national headwear. Any color, doesn't matter. Once you don't mark it or pin down your tassel. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, to His holy prophet, Noble Juali. Islam to all. 20 minutes more. I'll catch you on Blog Talk. Islam, peace, love, and hotep. To all the Moors worldwide. And just remember, spread the olive branch to those dirty Moors out there. Let them know that we're giving them a chance to, you know what I mean, come back home and stop playing around with people's birthright. We're giving them a chance, because Shimitar time soon, very soon. Trust me, Shimitar time soon. And all those dirty Moors. Everybody knows who they are already. We're telling y'all, go out there and tell them, let them know that Cujo, guy that they delete, guy that they want to put up stuff on Scribd and say that, you know, he's sexually exploiting people and all that type of stuff, let them know that we're extending the olive branch to them. And they have a chance to come back home, clean slate. Islam.